the definitive Kill Knight equipment tier list. Kill Knight is a really fun game, but there's basically like very few of the shit available is actually usable, and the Kill Knight experience is a nice little visceral twin sticky ADHD spam shit. Have fun, have a good time, and it's a very relaxing, hectic experience. But the greatest critique that I've heard about wannabe fans of Kill Knight is that its equipment not just is it unbalanced, which is the least you could say about it, but a lot of the equipment are just very similar clones of each other. There's not very much variety in terms of the options you have. Like, it's a game about options. Like, look at all the shit here, look at all the shit here, so much shit right here. But they don't really do much, or at least the important ones don't really do much. Start with the most important for gameplay purposes, the fucking pistols. Wait, that's on the good pistol. You didn't see that? Pretend we're on pistol number 1. You don't know what's good. I don't know what's good. Well, I do. I've played the game a lot. But, okay, Flux Strikers, otherwise known as the Sucks Strikers. They started horrible. God-awful. Get back over there, computer. Thank you. God-awful. They started horrible. Nobody ever used them except one guy, but we don't talk about that guy. He's a good guy, but he used the wrong pistols, you know? And using the wrong pistols can set you down a dark life you might not ever come back out of. They're just a basic assault rifle. Well, it has an interesting or pretty neat thingy where it increases the fire rate if you do the reload QTE, not usually used. This is not that good, doesn't have that much damage. Like, this archetype is supposed to have solid damage, and it's supposed to be able to stand up to the higher damage archetypes if you have enough accuracy. So it's supposed to be very skill-based, where the different ways that you can line up the spawns is very limited, but the overall maximum efficiency of this archetype is supposed to be very big, but it just doesn't have the damage. It's meh. And move on to the second one, the Revolters, otherwise known as the Piercers. They only pierce through one enemy, which, like, and for its QTE power-up, it doesn't even fire faster. It just penetrates through all enemies, which it should do by default anyway. It's, like, slightly better than the Suck Strikers, but, like, it's very, very, very similar. In effect, like, most of the pistols are all just one big gray blob of like, why? They don't really play that different. They don't really perform that different. Yeah, moving on. The Soul Renders. Yeah, these don't even have a damn nickname. That's how boring they are. They're literally just the first ones, but worse accuracy. At least its QTE power-up is decent. Fires a crap ton of bullets, but its spread is so ridiculous. If you're literally standing inside an enemy, you will still miss half your goddamn shots. It's an SMG archetype. It fires more bullets the longer, or the closer you are to running out of ammo, which it's very bad because it starts out sucking, and then at the end it's pretty good, but, like, you can't really conserve your ammo normally, like you would with any other weapon, where you can just internalize how quickly a weapon fires, so that way you can always just remember the duration of your taps. But the closer you get to the end, the fire rate constantly changes, so you can never store the amount of ammo that you really want to. Yeah, it just sucks. It's just the first one, but worse, not consistent, and bad. On to this one. Exhausters, an actually decent thing. Like, there are shotgun pistols. They can OHKO the smallest enemy types. If only there was a pistol that could OHKO small enemy types, but from infinite distance. And in fact, what if instead of just that, what if they also gave it the ability to hit several enemies with the same shot? Foreshadowing. But yeah, Exhauster's pretty good. The ammo is very low, which for this game is actually good, because the lower ammo you have, the more you can do the QTE power-ups, and the more you can do the sword slashes, which get you back the heavy weapon, and the game is really just about spamming the fuck out of the heavy weapon. So yeah, low ammo good, but the range is so short, and the QTE power up is ass. Like, it has decent damage, it has decent use, but it forces you into a super slow animation that you cannot dash cancel out of, so you're just a sitting duck. Okay, on to the fucking actual pistols. The only pistols in the game that anybody should ever fucking use. Yeah, all the good shit said about the shotguns, that's what this is. It's AoE, infinite range. The fire rate is pretty good, like it's only 3, but the fire rate is fast enough that you could still sort of aim it, like just hold down the trigger and not have to manually aim all your individual shots, so you could still use it that way. Infinite range, the ammo only one more than the shotgun pistols. Oh, and these are called the boomers, so that's another point to them, that they're just the boomers. They're not even okay, they're OP. OP boomer. And the most recent edition, which is pretty interesting, it's like the only pistol that actually plays different from any of the others, where it's literally just the needlers from Halo. Shoot an enemy, keep shooting them, and then they'll go boom with needles. It's a needler. That's what I could say about it. And the needles sure needle things. Okay, on to the heavy weapons. First heavy weapon, perfect. Don't need any of the other ones. It's a shotgun. You don't need more than a shotgun. Shotgun, best gun, funnest gun. Plays really unique because it's super wide, and you really gotta learn the exact width and length of the shot to get maximum efficiency. It's useful versus both small enemy types and large enemy types. It's one of the most versatile heavies. Oh yeah, I didn't give any tier lists for the fucking pistols, but the boomers, S tier. The needlers and the piercers and the suck strikers, put those in like C plus B tier. Everything else is just ass. Like, not even F tier, just put it in ass tier. Okay, back to the heavy. Yeah, great shotgun. It's paired with a big wrath ball, which is basically just a piercing cannonball. It's very consistent. It's all about accuracy. Yeah, overall, very good for safety, very good for speed. Definite S tier right there. On to this, the Rectifier, which I and many others thought it was the Reetfire, because how the fuck can you tell that little damn thing is a C? I refuse to believe it. It is a Reetfire. It fires Reets. But yeah, it's an assault rifle paired with seeking homing missiles, which it used to be really bad because like the homing missiles were super inconsistent, but with each update it got a little bit better. But from a usability standpoint, it's very interesting because the assault rifle is by far saves you more time than any other heavy weapon versus small enemies, but it loses you time versus large enemies. So whenever you're firing at a small enemy, you're faster and saving time versus every other heavy. Whenever you're firing at a large enemy, it's the exact opposite. But that's what the homing missiles are for. It's very interesting. It's like, it's a high risk, high reward. It's definitely viable in most of the levels, but since you don't have that burst damage without using the Wrath Burst, you can really get into many sticky situations where you really need more damage. But yeah, it's fun, it's cool, it plays interesting. Put it in a solid A tier. It's S tier in result, but it's A tier because of just how difficult it is to perform at a high level with it. Very, very finicky and precise. Now the Judge Cannon. It's ass, like the most ass, because it is like the only thing that never is good for speed or score throughout the game's history. It's surprisingly not bad in the last level, but it's complete ass in every others. It fires mortars in the air in close proximity. Wow, look at the damage of the normal heavy weapon. Wow, it's a heavy cannon and it fires wrath mortars. That must do so much damage. No, the base one does a shit ton of damage. The mortars are super short range, just AoE. It's not even an instant AoE around you. It takes like 2 or 3 seconds for it to hit around you, and it's just ass. It's like, it is Like, you can only gain back health in this game through the Wrath thingy, and this thingy's Wrath thingy is the worst in the game. You will run out of health. You will have no health and you will like it. And you would expect it to do pretty good damage, but nah. It's one of the worst damaging Wrath attacks. It's so ass. It would actually see use, like the base heavy weapon is pretty cool, pretty interesting. It's fun. It can OHKO some of the larger enemies, and only it can do that, but its Wrath Burst is just so ass that it's so inconsistent, and you have to play so cautiously to conserve health. So yeah, on the whole, this probably gets like a D tier. Moving on, Holy Bane. It's great. It's another shotgun, which remember at the beginning when I was talking about many clones. Yeah, instead of a wide shotgun, it's a narrow shotgun, which is actually more realistic for a real shotgun if you know anything about shotgun spread. But yeah, piercing shotgun, it's really interesting because unlike the first one, which has great use versus both small and large enemy types, this one saves time. Oh wait, yeah, the first one, good versus large and small. The second one, really good versus small enemy types, but struggles versus large enemy types. And then this one is the opposite of the second one, where this one is really good versus large enemy types, but struggles versus small enemy types. Because the very narrow spread makes it really hard to find instances where it'll save you that much time at all against small enemy types, even versus just using the pistols, let alone saving time versus the other heavy weapons. But still, it has infinite pierce, so if there are ever more than one large enemies on the screen at once, then it's juicy, because you basically get twice as much bang for your buck, because you could hit two of them. And its Wrath attack is really good. It's very bad in terms of instant damage, but in terms of overall ability to gain health back and overall just spam ability, it's super good, and it also helps versus its weakness of small enemy types, where it's basically just shoots out a swarm of little flies that gives Inflictum to enemies. And it deals damage to them over time. It used to be so ass that the damage, even if every single one of the flies was on the lowest HP enemy, it would take so long to actually kill them that I and most other people thought it literally did no damage. But yeah, apparently it does damage, and now it does pretty decent damage to the point where the swarm can like kill a few little guys for you. And yeah, you have to wait for them to actually get into contact with an enemy to trigger Inflictum. And the auto-target AI is really weird because the enemies move faster on the higher difficulties, and they move too fast that it confuses the AI for your targeting weapons, but the AI has gotten better over time as more and more updates came out. So it's pretty good. Yeah, overall this, I'd put it in another S tier. It's like, in this game, there are 2 heavy weapons which are recommended for everybody. One that's recommended if you like it. The 2 is, yeah, I'm putting this one in S tier along with the first one. So if you're a newer player, only fuck with the first one and the fourth one. Ignore everything else because they suck. For your purposes anyway. But yeah, really good S tier. It's really interesting. It's not good in most of the individual levels, but it's really good in the Sever mode and in the later levels. And it's really fun. On to the next one, the Big Low Ball. So this one, okay, everything bad that I said about the second one, the assault rifle one, apply to this, only it has 0 benefit. Oh, and it has like a cool Wrath Burst thingy where it's a big zappy glow ball, where it's literally just a big glow ball, which used to be pretty good until they saw that every score record in the game was done with it, so then they decided, you know what, let's make its Wrath attack cost like twice as much as the rest, and then it went from really good for one specific purpose to absolutely dog shit for every purpose. By the way, all these fucking bars, fucking ignore this. Its damage is worse than the second one. Its fire rate is worse than the second one. Its ammo is worse than the second one. And yeah, this is just very bad. This is the worst in the game for both speed and scoring. It's just so risky. You take so long to actually get any health back. It's ass. Very ass. On to the recent addition, the Star Trek gun. This one has a phaser and 2 photon torpedoes. This one is pretty good. This one is the new glow ball, because the glow ball used to be really good for score, but now this one is really good for score, because it shoots the photon torpedoes that just sit there. But if you fire the phaser through the photon torpedoes, then it gains wrath properties. So you can hit a bunch of enemies with the wrath effectively and get a bunch of health back. So yeah, this one, oh wait, I didn't say the tier for this one. The one before, put it in F tier. It sucks. F minus ass licking tier. Okay, but this one, yeah, it's pretty cool. And look at this, look at the damage. The damage, whoa, super high. The fire rate, whoa, super high. Let's see, it has more damage and fire rate. God damn keyboard controls. It has more damage and fire rate on the screen than Breach Fire, but it doesn't. It fires more slowly. There's actually a startup time penalty where you have to wait like 0.2 of a second every single time, so you can't even use it like an assault rifle, so that way you can deal efficient damage to small enemy types. It's like, when we first saw this in like all the prelude trailers for the thing, we were super excited because we thought it was filling in a gap of a assault rifle like a weapon that could be decent versus both large and small enemy types. So we were expecting it to be like the second one, but just better or more interesting. But nah, they gave it a startup penalty whenever you fire it, so you can't fire it on separated small enemy types. Its damage is worse, despite saying it's higher. Its fire rate is like way, way worse, despite saying it's way higher. It's like, it has more damage and fire rate than the fucking first one, which is a shotgun. It's like, no, it's worse. It has less damage and fire rate than even the shotgun. It's so ass. It's like a continuous laser thingy, but the laser does such shit damage that the fire rate is just a lie. It's just a technicality. Oh, and on top of having a penalty whenever you want, like a time penalty whenever you want to use it, it, fuck, what was I saying? Oh yeah, for some reason, they added an entirely new mechanic where your aim speed gets more, like less than half your normal aim speed whenever you're using the heavy weapon. So yeah, just because you can spread out and inflict them over so many enemies, it's the best scoring weapon, but everything else is just bad. Like, they didn't have to nerf this for no reason. And it would have been really cool. But yeah, this gets like a B tier. So S tier, A tier, ass tier, S tier, triple F minus ass lick tier, and this one gets B tier. Onto the swords. Hello, kitty. The swords, the most important singular item in the game. So yeah, I'm just gonna do this in a big clump. So the entire game's mechanic revolves around using the sword QTE that has invulnerability frames in order to get back heavy weapon ammo. And you can chain a dash off of using the sword QTE like, you use the sword QTE in a huge thick crowd. It's like, whoa, super dangerous, but because you can just dash out of it for free, and you could just spam the heavy weapon continuously until you need more, and then use the sword QTE. Oh, but what if some of the swords didn't give you iframes? What if some of the swords QTE was so tiny and so narrow? And what if some of the sword QTE had an effective area of a gnat? Yeah, so first sword, F tier. It's super ass. It has such a tiny... It has like one... It's basically fires out in a cone for the QTE, or sort of like a very short triangle that has less than 1/3 of the area of effect as a circular attack. So it's ass. If it's not circular, it's unusable. It's completely ass. This one, F tier. Next one. You can't use its normal base attack to hit Inflictum enemies. By the way, Inflictum enemies take like double-ish damage from sword attacks. It has a pretty good active trigger. It can absorb projectiles, only small projectiles, into sword charge. And it has a circular circular reload QTE attack. But it doesn't give you iframes, and it has a long animation where it does 3 slashes. Doesn't really do much damage either for all the 3 slashes combined. And you can't dash cancel out of it, so you're a sitting duck. This one gets D tier. Next sword. Big Thwompy Boy. This is a big thwomper. This is the thwompiest. It'll thwomp you. It'll thwomp you for all your thwomping needs. You can get thwomped all night long. S tier. Circular or QTE attack. Good. Gives you iframes. The base sword attack is a little slow, but it has really good damage. It could finish off a lot of the larger enemies when they get Inflictum on them. It pairs really well with Holy Bane, actually. It's really fun to pair them. And this thing right here where it says increase heavy weapon ammunition drop on kill. Garbage. Like, you can... It's so easy to get back heavy weapon ammo with this sword and one of the other swords that having an increase to it does not matter at all, even a little bit. Completely useless, because it's already too good at it. And yeah, it's pretty good. The circular QTE attack is a decent area. It's a little slow in places, has a slow startup time, has a slow animation. Still really good. Good for safety, decent for speed. On to my boy, the gun sword. It has like twice as the area of effect as the other sword, the good Thwompy Boy. Although it is a bit disjointed with the areas it hits, but on the whole, it can kill way more enemies than any other sword. It doesn't have slow animations, doesn't have any weird shit tied to it that really matters, except like less sword charge, but that doesn't really matter. Because you just kill so many enemies that the less sword charge is only there via technicality. Like, it still gets you about as much sword charge as the other ones. Unless you're a weird score runner and, like, actually slow down in order to kill more things with the sword. But fuck that. I am not patient. Patience is for weebs and nerds. And I am a weeb and I am a nerd, but I'm not that kind of weeb and a nerd. I'm a proud, impatient weeb nerd. The best kind of weeb nerd, I'll have you know. Oh, and this one's base attack is pretty cool too. Does good damage, and shoots out like little thingamajiggies. It's a gun sword. It's great. Onto this ass, complete ass. Burns through sword charge. Who even gives a fuck? It wouldn't matter. Her sword kills spawn additional blood gems, with more spawning when the sword charge is higher. Oh, if only you didn't burn through sword charge over time. And if only your QTE attack was not a literal pencil. It's so ass. Ass. F tier. Oh wait, I didn't give a tier for the previous one. S tier. S tier for Heavensworn. S tier for the big Thwompy Boy. And F tier for Killblade. F tier for the first one. D tier for the second one. And this one took the devs a lot of thinking and a lot of wisdom to make new things, to add them to the game, and this one's gonna get a C tier. Yeah, C tier. It sucks. Like, it has a circular QTE attack, but it jumps. It turns you into a grasshopper. There are grasshopper enemies, and in my headcanon, this sword was made from the corpses of those enemies, and they were forged into this soul. Into the soul of the sword. But yeah, that's like, it has a circular attack. It gets bigger with more sword charge, but it doesn't get that big. And most importantly, you can't use it versus enemies that are near you because you jump without doing damage to a completely different location where more than likely there are much less enemies than directly around you. If this sword did even a bit of damage to the enemies directly in front of you, it would be good. But if you're in a situation where there are enemies right in front of you and you accidentally get the sword QTE power up, you will waste like 3 seconds because you won't damage the enemies right in front of you. There are so many instances where the QTE, which you'd think should be better than the normal attack, will literally hit 0 enemies. But, yeah, little chump change, little dumb shit right here. Kill 5 enemies with any sword attack to empower heavy weapon shots. Empowered shots give you sword charge. It's bad, because, like, it only does one single little thing of heavy weapon ammo that it actually gives the bonus to, and you can't stack it. Even if you could stack it as much as you want, it's just, the basic sword mechanics are just so bad. It's like, yeah, just do the same exact slam, but do it directly where you're standing when you do the attack, and this is an S tier too, automatically with the other 2 S tiers. But because it's disjointed and it's weird and dumb, C tier. Onto the armors. Now the armors are the only items where you could basically use whatever you want and be fine. It's like the least consequential, just because like most of them are pretty good. Yeah, 2 dashes, pretty good recovery. 1 dash, this is for noobs because, or this armor is for noobs, because you basically take like half damage, and you don't really need to have that many dashes. Just to beat the game, and the dash recovery matters more for the situations where you need to dodge lasers, and this one has just fine dash recovery, so this one pretty good. It's usable. The third one, this one is really, really cool, because like it gives you more dashes, 3 dashes, but you take double the damage. It was really cool because this was like the speedrunner shit, but only for the levels that you've mastered so much that you could do it safely by taking double damage. Yeah, this was cool. At one point, I'd say this was an A tier, but because one armor that does everything it does, but better, and then adds some shit on top of that, yeah, this is completely useless now. This one, probably like C tier, B tier, I don't know. But all of them pretty much usable. Like, if you're not a noob, you can use this armor as much as you want, have fun. If you're a noob, this armor will eat you. Next one, dash recovery is so ass. This is probably the most assy ass armor. If you get enough green shards, you can turn Super Saiyan and do a ki burst when you either get hit or dash into an enemy. Yeah, it's just way too little dashes. It's like the one with 1 dash gets you more dashes than this just because of the dash recovery. Yeah, this armor right here. This one is the one recommended for the vast majority of players because it has good dash recovery, and it doesn't have any weird shit tied to it that you have to keep up with. Yeah, best dash recovery. Kill power draining much faster. It doesn't really matter. It's really easy to get kill power. Kill power level increases dash recovery speed. You spend the vast majority of the time at maximum kill power, so that's where you're going to spend the most time. And that's why this also isn't really a penalty. And if you dash into Inflictum enemies, it triggers a little boom at the cost of kill power, which you don't really use it that much, but it can be neat, can be helpful. This one, probably putting it in a B tier, B+. It's good, it's recommended for most players. Now, the S tier armor. The armor, do you see this where it says dash recovery and there are no bars? Yeah, that's because actually it has infinite dash recovery and you just can't fit infinite bars here. It's like, dashes, you get all 4 dashes restored whenever you do a QTE successfully. And it is so easy to get that QTE, and it is like so fast. Like, and not only does it give you way more dashes at practically no cost, it gives you a little mini-me that a little shadow clone that fires the suck strikers, but it's really cool because it can extend your reach. And you don't ever really want to dash into the shade unless it's right about to run out. Because, like, you really want to milk it for all it's worth, so you do want to actively avoid dashing into it. But, yeah, S tier. Perfect armor. It's the best. If you can't use this armor well, sorry, you're a noob. On to the charms. Okay, rapid fire. Receive more kill power from blood... Wait. There used to be multiple charms that were viable, but, yeah, let's just get this out of the way. There are several charms in here that I would have put in S tier, if not for this one completely fucking up everything. Which, whenever you fire a Wrath Burst, you get full heavy weapon ammo. You see right here where it says some? Yeah, that's a lie. It does not restore some. It restores all for every single heavy weapon, regardless of what it says. This one under-promises and oversells. Like, this one, you get way... Like, it is just so good. Like, you cannot spam the heavy weapon enough in order to run out in a lot of places because of this charm. This charm single-handedly shaved, like, 30 seconds off of the whole game, like, combining all the ILs and Sever. Well, no, in Sever, it'd save even more. So, like, probably 40 seconds to 60 seconds of time save in this one charm. Yeah. S tier charm, maybe like S++ tier. Yeah, just to give you perspective. Receive more kill power from blood gems, not bad. It used to be useful in the first level. Dash cooldown time is reduced. This one is really good, especially if you're a newer player or just want to play extra safe. It's a good charm. Pretty decent. This one, enemies drop more heavy ammo from sword kills. This is completely ass because the good swords can do this easily at any point in the level, regardless. So why? And like, you can't store more heavy weapon ammo than your max ammo. So this charm is completely useless. Blood gem collection radius increased. It served the same purpose as the first charm, but it helped more versus the levels that had more enemies. Not exactly sure why, but levels that have a lot more enemies, this charm basically does the first one, but better. Okay, health shards grant more healing. This is great for newer players if you just want to beat the game. All sword actions grant extra sword charge. One of the two prior king charms. This one was very helpful, especially for score runs until the score players realized that another charm was way better for that purpose. But yeah, you can do more slow time shit. You can get more sword surges off. Really good. Enemies suffer from inflict them for longer. Completely useless. Like, why even? Completely useless. Absorbing blood gems give more wrath energy. This one, the other good one, you just get more wrath attacks. More wrath attacks means more health. And it also means more big red buttons. Really good. This used to be the go-to for most of the individual levels. Hyperdrive stays activated for longer. Now, Hyperdrive, that means Zawarudo, when you slow down time after a parry. This one is actually really good for scoring, because apparently the slow time mechanic, you just want to spam that as much as you possibly can to maximize your score. So yeah, this one, as far as scoring goes, this one is S tier. As far as normal play goes, it's still like B tier. Maybe A tier, because it is pretty good in Sever still. Now onto this one. Ass. Just ass. It's like the duration and amount of the temporary boost to damage is just so tiny. It's so insignificant. Garbage. Absolute garbage. Best in the game, and Quick Absorb also attracts health shards with reduced distance. Just walk into the damn health shards. Yeah, completely useless. And that is everything. The definitive tier list didn't give a specific tier for most of these charms because they're just way too goddamn many and they all are meh. But yeah, most of the shit doesn't play too different from each other. Horrible balancing issues, but I still love this game. It's really fun to just plug and play and just go on a mindless rampage. So yeah, Kill Knight isn't very good as far as nuance goes, or as far as versatile combinations goes, as far as strategic mixing and matching equipment goes, which it really could have been. With just a few little tweaks here and there, it could have been everything it is now and so much more. But the equipment just really isn't balanced that well. If you know the right stuff to use, the gameplay is really fun. But if you don't, the gameplay is way harder and way more tedious than it really should feel. And it's really off-putting to a lot of new players, especially because how much of the good shit is hidden behind hours of grinding. So yeah, Kill Knight could have been way more successful and way more fun and way more strategic than it ended up being. But it just isn't. It's still a really fun, really good game. Really fun to just chill and go on a mindless rampage, but could have been so much more. Thanks for listening. That's all I have for now.